Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I am Gat, your host. A viewer had requested a natal chart analysis of her family and a situation that was going on with that. So that has been accomplished. But now, as far as the adults, now we're dealing with the siblings. Or should I say siblings? Yeah, I guess you could say siblings. So we're going to go right in. And she'll know which ones is which because I made sure by marking each one. So she'll know which one is which. But I'm just gonna go. I'm going to explain it by what's on the chart. I'm not going to deal with gender too much or anything else. But the person who requested this will know who's who. All right. The first thing I see is the one to the left is that pyramid. That's big. That's big. Cause I know she don't want me to go too like she requested it, but like when you request it, like nah, not my babies and stuff like that. So I'll be mindful of that, but I do have to say what's on the charts. But when you see that pyramid, that's big. All right. So we're starting off with the ascendant, and we want that is her first house. Now again, we're at the natal chart on the left. You see the pyramid inside. We're going to talk about that a little bit, and we're going to do it. So the first thing we're starting off with Aries. So we have to know that her first house is exactly where it should be because Aries is the first house. But not every natal chart is like that. So that's another thing we notice immediately. The pyramid, and then her natal chart will be in sync with a perfect natal chart because your first house should be Aries. But everybody's born differently, so that's why it's not. All right, so you have Aries. Right now, we're noticing the number 4 and 8. And that, like I said, that's going to be dealing with Scorpio, the 8th house, which can also be dealing with karma. And when you look at her 8th house, you see a lot of action, which we will explain. And also the number 4 can deal with angels, but it can also deal with things that are earthy. And number 4 is Aries. The number 4 card is Aries as well. And like the number 8 card can either be the strength card, which is Leo energy, or it can be the Justice card, which is Libra energy. And we'll find out more as time goes on. All right, now we're gonna go counterclockwise. House number 2. Well, the first house is your personality, how the world sees you. AC is the ascendant. That's the sun rising over the horizon when she was born. The EP is the ecliptic. This is the heart of the sun, or the ego, ego, and that is the sun going over the ecliptic when she was born. Second house is finances, possessions, and money, and her value system. Her finances, possession, and value system, and Taurus. But as you can see, it's nothing there, but that will be explained because remember, Venus rules both Taurus and Libra. So when you get to those areas, you'll have a better explanation of house number 2. House number 3, same thing, Gemini. This is small children, teaching small children education, short travel, creativity, multitasking, people that are analytical, mental, good with the mind, the brotherhood around you or whatever is around you, and siblings as well. Again, nothing's there, so you won't find out more about that till we continue and move forward. Next house is family. That's just my personality because you always want to know why nothing's in family, but there's a reason for everything. You have to remember that. But family, again, the 4th house is family. Teenage to adult education, land and property, or real estate. Ancestors, and again, the family. A person's heart, their vehicle or travel, and whatever person raised this person when they were younger, which can even be now, that person in the mother position, that's called Imom Coeli. So that'll always be in that person's subconscious mind, and that Imom Coeli will always be in the 4th house. And a lot of times, it's directly connected to the moon. Whether the moon is in the 4th house right now or not, wherever you see that moon, it will have a connection back to that 4th house, but also to the person's earthly mother. That's Imom Kweli. And that is her south node, so that is her past life. Now, when you look straight up, that's Capricorn, and that's also where that point is. That point is looking right up too. See, that's like the head of the pyramid, and it's feminine, and that's powerful. So that's that connection to the divine feminine. And it's pointing right up to her Capricorn, to her medium Coeli. So she's going to have a very unique connection to her mother. And I don't know if her mother knows that yet, because when you got kids, sometimes you don't really realize it. But she's going to have a very unique connection to her mother. Because that medium Coeli can also be the mother as well, but it can also be the father. It all depends on the polarities that's up there. But notice that pyramid is going right to the top, right to the peak. And that's the authority. That's the authority. So she's connected, and everybody's got to know that. And her mother may already know that. It's like sometimes you see things about your kids, you just don't want to deal with it. But there's a reason why she requested it. You know? It's like sometimes you don't want to know, but you want to know. And you got to understand, it's better off for everybody. Even when you watch Star Trek, they had to tell Captain Kirk how special Wesley was. They said, don't treat him any differently. You know, don't treat him any differently. But you have to know this one's special. And that could be all 3 of them. We just getting started. And then even when Q came, and Q had to show Captain Picard. Now you may have said, wow, Q is really evil. Because Q came, and immediately he brought the Borg to Captain Picard. But the fact of the matter was, sooner or later they were going to meet the Borg anyway. So Q actually did them a favor, even if it didn't seem like that. Because they made that choice to go out there in space and deal with whatever was out there, and eventually they would have met the Borg anyway. That's why spirituality is so important. Because when you really have that trust in God, you won't fear this stuff. And that's what I tell people all the time. Don't fake it. Don't say Jesus and God and then something happens and you backtrack. And you should actually be going towards it if you really believe it. So that takes you to the next sign, Leo. My son's sign is Leo. And that's the 5th house of children, fun, creativity. The 3rd house is also creativity. So the 3rd house and the 5th house are 2 of the most creative houses on a person's natal chart. So that's creativity. Could be singing, could be talent, having fun, travel. It doesn't stop. Anything that's fun, even athletics. That's the 5th house with Leo. Now, that's Juno. Juno is the person she's going to be in a serious relationship with. This will probably be Leo energy. She's going to have a serious relationship with somebody that's a Leo. That's what Juno is. That's the asteroid. And you got to know why it's 25 degrees. So we have to look up the number 25, which we'll do. Give me a moment. All right. So now, 25 is an analytical, intuitive. The number 2 is that analytical, intuitive, diplomatic. But number 2 is also the high priestess. That's why I keep telling you about this divine feminine that pyramid is pointing to. Because she also speaks through your earthly mother. because she's a divine mother. And when you really know the scriptures the correct way, you see her throughout the Bible. If you want to take a glimpse at her, she's in Proverbs chapter 8, and she tells you she's the creator and she created everything. But the Protestants will tell you, oh, that's just a personification, or that's Jesus. But that's not what the scripture says. And she's all throughout the Bible. See, the Bible uses a whole lot of metaphors and symbolisms, and they hide it, but she's still there. So that's the number 2, and that number 25. Because remember, when you're talking about Juno, that's the 2 couples. It could be a twin flames couple, which is a twin soul couple, same soul, different body, or it could be a soulmate, which is just somebody in your soul family, but you have some type of special connection to that person. But whoever it is, that's that Juno in her 5th house. Now, number 5 can mean adventure, but number 5 can also be Uranus or Mars energy. So you have to be careful, because sometimes that energy can become violent. So you just have to be aware of that. And then if you take 2 plus 5, you get 7. And of course, 7 is going to be that spiritual number. And 7 can also be connected with wisdom. So a number 25 will always be searching for wisdom and knowledge. They're introspective and spiritual. So that's either going to be this person that we're doing a chart for, or it's going to be the person she falls into that relationship with, because that is going to be a serious relationship. Number 25 is very perceptive and wise beyond her years. So this child is very wise. She's possibly an old soul, and if she is, we'll be able to see that throughout the chart. But that pyramid is already telling you something. So 25 is a person who can spend time alone or with others. And they're saying if that was her choice, she might be alone. So again, as far as the parenting is concerned, you have to be aware of that, because I know parents can say, "Well, I'm not going to let my child be alone. I'm going to make sure my child is sociable," and that's true. But you also want to be aware of the purpose. So it's a balance there. All right. And they also say that the number 25 represents the law. 25 years old is the youngest a candidate can be to run for the House of Representatives. In the Gospel of John, Jesus Christ said, in all truth. Like some Bibles say, verily I say unto you, but in some Bibles say, in all truth. But Jesus said that 25 times in the Gospel of John. The number 25 can be intellectual, sensual, complex, but logical. They're deeply involved with analytical and scientific inquiry. So that's one of the times where they spend time alone. They are very rational, and their mind often takes precedence over their emotions. more often than not. And that's pretty deep because, like I said, this is feminine energy. So that's pretty deep. Usually the female is the emotions over the analytical mind or the rational mind. Not always, but a lot of times. Now they may be a dreamer as well. But again, that's how you get creativity. See, when you deal with the angel cards, they want you to be a dreamer. They want you to be a Leo in the 5th house. They want you to have fun. They want you to learn how to trust spirit. They don't want you to be so career minded and that you're so busy that you don't have time to listen to spirit. And that's why Jesus really was totally against. Jesus was if you read what Jesus said in the Bible, he was really anti trying to build anything up in this world. He was all about spirit, trust the Father. If you just trust the Father will never fail you and stuff like that. This person will be interested in philosophy, psychology, metaphysics, and other fields of science. And they tend to express themselves artistically and creatively. And remember that Juno could be her and that person, or it could be that person, or it could be her. But Juno's in her 5th house for a reason. Again, 25 is both emotional and spiritual. And that's what I'm saying, because it's 25. One could be emotional, one could be spiritual. Or they could both be one or either or. 25s are usually good at communicating with a wide range of people, and they're usually well liked. They have deep feelings. They care greatly for humankind. And they have a talent for looking into people's souls. But the negative aspect of number 25 is they can get too caught up in their thoughts and analysis that they forget that the heart also needs attention. So they may have to work a little harder to maintain their humanity and sensitivity to others, because they can become cynical and unemotional. And they may have a problem with trust. They have to learn how to trust the others. So that's the number 25, and that's her Juno. Going into her 6th house, which is the home. This is the home. The 6th house has to do with health, healing, service, daily activities, daily duties, possibly the job, small children, small animals. And that is her sun sign at 29 degrees. And that's very important. That 29 degrees sun sign is one of the most important degrees on her chart. Now, her number 12, Mercury. So she may have a problem with speaking her true feelings, because 12 is the hangman. That's Neptune energy. And he kind of stays with himself and keeps it to himself. So again, knowing that, you may have a communication situation. So if you really want to know what they feel, you have to develop how you speak with them so you can get them to communicate. because it's on their natal chart that they may not tell you everything. And again, you're dealing with an old soul. And once you start to get into their psychic abilities, you don't know what they can do. But I'm telling you, that pyramid is big, especially where it's pointed. If you notice, it's pointing at the highest point on the chart. So they're showing you that she can communicate very well with the sun and with the sun conjunct Mercury, but she's going to choose not to speak on certain things. And then that's that 12 degrees is Neptune energy. So maybe wherever Neptune is, it may give us some answers. Who knows? So now we got that 29th degree, which is an anaretic degree, but it's also a karmic degree. And that will probably be the most important degree on her chart. And the second to that will be the Juno degree at 25 degrees. When you see the 29th degree, it's signifying some type of, it could be the end of the cycle, but something's going on at that moment in time. It can represent either getting too much of something or too little of something. Now, the sign that the celestial point or planet occupies represents the area of life that remains unsatisfied. And then that's home for some reason. But the planet is ready. And remember, your natal chart, it could mean now, it could be your past, it could be the future. And it says that the planet, in this case, they're talking about the sun, is readily looking forward to the lessons and cycles promised at its ingress into a new sign. And the sign at 29 degrees is about to enter the seventh house at 0 degrees. So they say it's looking forward. It's looking forward to that. And the vertex is right there. So that's interesting. The vertex cross. So this holds much karmic significance. So now 20 degrees, 29 degrees Virgo. This will denote the end of an employment cycle. Natives find themselves feeling that they are not getting enough out of their job. This could also signify a change in employment. It also portends the end or beginning of a health cycle, because Virgo is health. And like I said, Virgo can also be your daily activity or your daily job. But again, this could be like later on in her life. Usually what happens is when the transit chart is at 29 degrees Virgo, then that would happen. Now you also have the sun at the anaretic degree, 29 degrees. The sun at 29 degrees. The sun represents the will and the life force. Sun placed in the anaretic degree suggests that a person is driving for change. This represents self-improvement and drive to see beyond the new horizon. It has a karmic placement. So she might find out in her life that it's better that she pursues her goals her way and not through some type of employer. That could be later in life, of course. right, now you get into that 7th house is a relationship house. And as you see, she has a lot of activity there. And it's also 22. And that's the 1111 twin flame number. It can also be the 4, the angel number. Now, just so you know, that's Vesta asteroid. Now, Vesta asteroid is very spiritual. And she works with Virgo, which is the home of the Virgin Mary, which is also Isis, the goddess of Egypt. So anybody at a 22 is somebody that's vibrating off a higher, like they really can love unconditionally, and their love is higher. As long as they're allowed to grow to that, they'll grow to unconditional love. Otherwise, it won't be 22 degrees. They would be 4. And 4 is a lower, you might want to say octave, but it's a lower octave of 22 is like people that really have that divine love. But 4 is somebody who their flesh is not going to let them do that. Their flesh is not going to let them love somebody that much, because they're going to be a little selfish, and they're going to be looking out for their own interests. But that 22 is somebody that could really do it. The number 3 is creativity. It could also be Gemini energy, but it's just not enough information to say that. But the number 3 is also like creativity and a relationship, and that's the vertex. That vertex cross means this is a fated relationship. It's fate to happen. Or it could actually be, fate or destiny. Now, if you notice, that part of fortune is at 12 degrees. So once again, even in her relationship, she's not going to be talking about it. Now, that could mean a lot of things. She might not talk to her own mate about certain things, or she won't talk to other people about her relationship. Because that's what 12 is the hangman. He's not giving up no info. He's really quiet and keeps to himself. But her relationship will be spiritual with Vesta energy. And as you see, it has some type of connection to that pyramid. And now, let's look at 6 degrees Libra. So like I said, give me a moment. I have to pull it up on the computer. Passionate, self-righteous, and determined character. Depending on the natal chart, one is symbolized by the bird of prey or the triangle. Ain't that crazy? Because that's exactly what she has on her natal chart. One is symbolized by the bird of prey or the triangle. The former describes an aggressive and spiteful person who puts their intelligence at the service of base ambition and does not hesitate to resort to cruel actions in order to defeat their opponent. And just so I'm not saying that's true, but the 7th house is about open enemies. There are dangers of severe injuries by fire and sword. As for the triangle, it indicates a strong interest in spirituality, religion, or sociality. but also some sort of over-exertiveness which borders on intolerable. In both cases, one must renounce all forms of excess and violence. Then, as one ages, one becomes able to help other people overcome psychological and moral crises. I ain't talking about swords and fires and stuff like that. Like I said, the ancient Egyptians was like angels, whether you know that or not. And the Bible does tend to tell you there's people alive now that are like ancient angels. You just gotta think about the Bible. Let me just tell you two things. God told Abraham, "I'm gonna make your seed like the stars of heaven." But if you just read the Bible, the stars of heaven are angels, and you even see those stars falling down in Revelation 12. And at the same time those stars are falling down, God starts talking about the biblical Israel, not the people over there talking about their Israel in the Middle East. Those ain't the real Israel. And we know that that's the Holy Land with the pyramids. So, once again, those pyramids were built by these angels. And that's why they have divine mathematics and divine sciences and all that stuff. And they knew all about the stars and all that. Just like Joseph knew about the stars, Job knew about the stars. Anybody connected to God knows about space and the stars because that's really where they come from. And John chapter 1 tells you that Jesus Christ came for those stars. And he said you're going to see the angels ascending and descending to the Son of Man. John chapter 1, verse 51. And then those are the same angels in Jacob's ladder that you saw Jacob when God made the promise to Jacob. And Jacob had a fight with the angel of the Lord. So just things you might want to keep in mind. Now, Saturn is going to be a measure of seriousness in a relationship. So this person doesn't seem like they're good. They're not going to play when it comes to the relationship. And you have to be careful because Libra energy, they seem to see a relationship perfectly. But on this planet, nothing's perfect. So then when Libra begins to see faults of the person in a relationship with, they can go into number 12. They can go inward. So that's why they try to teach them to communicate. That would help them later in life. Because then they may be in a better position to communicate when they feel a certain way. Because right now you're seeing those 12s, and that's somebody that ain't gonna communicate, and that's not good for a family relationship. It's not good for a relationship with somebody you're in a relationship with. It's not a good thing. All right. Oh yeah, it's also karmic. When you see Saturn, that's also could be connected to past life, and it can be karmic. In other words, the person you're in this relationship with, you've been in a relationship with that person before. It's a karmic relationship. All right, so we'll read. This is astrolata.com. Astrolata.com. Your past life relationship karma. Saturn could also mean time delay, which means it might be time delays in a relationship as well. Saturn could represent restrictions, pain, and complexes that lead us to feeling inadequate. But it can also be the planet of long-term commitment. Saturn is the most karmic planet, and in this life, we pay for the mistakes we made in a past life. And I know a lot of people don't believe that, but I've been doing this for a while now, and that is kind of true. In this lifetime, your Saturn will teach you lessons and repeat until you get it right. Now he says astrology gives way to a long-lasting marriages. Saturn is the glue that keeps you together to work through these issues, and this placement is a sign that you were connected to each other in past lives. Your Saturn is your ignorance, your fears, and weaknesses, and when connected to another person's planet, is to teach you about this. It can work both ways. Saturn teaches you about your weaknesses, insecurities, and where you need to improve in this lifetime. So Saturn will press buttons, bring faults to the surface in relationships. Now, the process can be painful, and people might feel that this is restrictive, but it's necessary for people to grow. So Saturn brings karma and magic. So he's saying it could take a while. That's why I said about time delays. He's saying it could take a while to resolve these issues. He said if you can work through the karma and Saturnian energy and allow the other person to teach you, and if the feeling is reciprocated, you two will eventually grow together. The one who has Saturn is always the role of the teacher and be critical of the other person and finds fault. The other person can feel like they're being controlled. They might even be fearful. And they also don't like it because sometimes Saturn can indicate a more mature person who's growing up and changing. Another person ain't going to like that. The Saturn person becomes immature and insecure in the relationship. They said the Saturn person will always try to be the boss. The Saturn person doesn't like the lack of immaturity. The Saturn person doesn't like the lack of maturity, lack of qualities, and voids in a person and tries to help, but it comes out as being critical. So these are the issues she's going to have with the relationship. And I told you, like, Libra will jump into a relationship like, oh, everything's beautiful, everything's beautiful. But when they start to see reality, they will start to withdraw. And that's why you keep seeing this number 12 in her chart. All right. Now in the 8th house. Now you have that full report. I'm not going to read everything in the 8th house. That's a long. It's a lot of stuff in that 8th house, but as you can see, she's got the whole Mars and Venus connection. Now, you have to be careful of Mars at 5 degrees because that can imply violence. And Scorpio is also very power struggles and codependencies and stalking and unbridled emotions, watery emotions, because that's a water sign. And you guys, so this could be one of those type of relationships. Now, her Venus is at 9 degrees. Now, that's Virgo energy, but that's the Hermit. Now, that's somebody who goes by their own enlightenment. They go by their own enlightenment. They may not go by what somebody else shows them or tells them. They go by their own knowledge, their own experience, their own enlightenment. So in that house, the 8th house, I'm just saying you got to be careful of the whole Venus versus Mars thing. And if that was one person, it could even indicate a bipolar person, born from 2 different polarities. So you can see that this young woman, this young female, she's got the whole hangman who keeps stuff to herself, Neptune polarity, and she's got the Virgo who will go out in public, but they go by their own enlightenment. They go by their own lamp. And that's also your soulmate at that palace that looks like a diamond. That's also your soulmate at 24 degrees. Because that palace tries to help them balance out. All right, we want that 24. Give me a moment. Okay, now the 24 is again number 2, the high priestess, but she wants everything to be together. But the number 4 is Aries energy, and you have to be careful because Aries can be aggressive, and that's what you're looking at in that 8th house. Mars is there. Aries can be aggressive, a little selfish, and they, short-sightedness. Don't want to work together. Want to do it their way. So the challenge is to make the 2 and 4 come to 6, because at least 6 is the lovers, but it's not always easy. I think the number 24 is also called the turning point as well. Some people call it the return, and other people call it the turning point. So it's at that point that something happens. That's a turning point. The number 24 is indicative of the deep cycles of the heart that enclose us into systems of sentiment and belief that are so powerful they form the foundation of all societies. So that's going to be a powerhouse and, going to be very emotional. They say a number 24 person can be a healer or a counselor, said a security officer, keeping people safe. They can be an artist who is creative and nurturing, or they can be in a domestic role, nurturing. All right, now let me see. Give me one moment. I'm looking up one thing. All right. So then we go to Sagittarius, and ironically, the only thing in Sagittarius is the nurturer at 26 degrees. Now the nurturer again, but you gotta remember, like the mother, the high priestess. See, she would be like the moon in Cancer, and that's the nurturer, and that's also Curious, the asteroid, is a nurturer, because the number 26 is really a divine voice, and the ninth house is the house of the higher self. And the higher you go up, you go back to the divine womb or divine darkness that everything came from, and that would be the female. And that's why people that have that Sagittarius, again, that's that connection that they can even talk to and be aware of things. Because Sagittarius energy, that's the friend of God. That's Archangel Raguel, and he's the friend of God. So once again, that's at 26 for that divine communication. And then you look your medium coeli with your true north node. So this is what you should be doing, and this life, that's the true point. This is what she should be doing, and that is some type of power transformation. And Pluto in the 10th house, we can look at that before we do the numerology. But that's the 10th house is Capricorn energy. It's career and reputation. But you want to know what Pluto in the 10th house could mean. So they keep saying, remember they said House of Representatives? Now they saying that's like a political placement. Pluto in the 10th house. But she would be very powerful if that's true. But I keep saying it. If she really did have a past life connection in Egypt, it makes sense. Because even if you look on your dollar bill, they still got the pyramids and all that. And all that stuff is like parts of Freemasonry and all that. And when Donald Trump was talking at the State of Union, all those women were Eastern stars. That's why they all had on white. All right, this is Astro Matrix. I used to like them, then all of a sudden, I don't know. It seemed like something just changed. But I'm gonna see what they're talking about. Nah, see, they're not really saying too much. Okay, yeah, it seems pretty good. With Pluto in the 10th house, opportunities for transforming or regenerating yourself may come through participation in the affairs of the community and society. There is a strong drive for power and public recognition. These urges must have positive outlet, possibly through your flair for business and social enterprise. To be successful, your professional life should lead to a meaningful contribution to society. Many scientific, political, spiritual, and religious leaders have Pluto in the 10th house, exhibiting the willpower and drive necessary to reform existing social structure. So as you can see, that relationship in the 7th house is going to have something to do with her rulership in the 10th house. And that 10th house is her life purpose in this life. And even Pluto's at 2 degrees. So that could be couple. And medium Coeli is at 4 degrees, which means she's chosen to not stay at 22 degrees. Because when you're at 22 degrees, you're either going to stay at 22 or you're going to go with the 4. And she's chosen to go with the 4 for this reason. And then her true north node is 8. That's the 8th house. And this is where all that stuff got started that we were talking about. And 8 can also be karma. 8 can also be business, as well as power and finance. Now, when you get to her 11th house, now if you notice, you start seeing retrogrades. Just so everybody knows, the true north node that looks like a horseshoe, that should have aura. That should be a retrograde. Because if your true north node is missing in retrograde, that means something dysfunctional is going on. But we went around the entire chart and we saw no retrogrades until we get to the 11th house. Now this is going to be friends, association, and groups. But it's interesting. See, Neptune retrograde usually means somebody who escapes situations. They don't want to deal with it, so they escape. And sometimes it could be through partying, drugs, alcohol, things like that. And that is your house of friends, association, groups, the 11th house. And it does have Aquarius energy. So she may have a period in her life where she escapes through that. But ironically, they put her at 26 degrees. And that's supposed to be divine communication. So not sure who that divine communication would be, but it may be someone who's connected to that Neptune energy. But I already told you that the Neptune energy is the person that goes into their own little world. That's the hangman. And then ironically, 27 degrees is the diplomat or the humanitarian. So ironically, this may help her get along with the people. Who knows? Because this will be years from now. But it almost looks like the fact that she does escape whatever she does, it gets her over with the people. Because she's one of us. She's like us. And then you have Lilith. And this is the final house, the 12th house. And this is a spiritual house, and it is about karma and sacrifice. And then there you have two more retrogrades. Both Jupiter retrograde and Uranus retrograde at 28 degrees. Now, the number 28 means excess. Like they may be business minded, but they're too extreme. But some people will tell you in order to get ahead, you got to do what you got to do. And when a person really wants to be powerful, they'll do it. But this is the spiritual house. So they will have a spiritual platform. And they will get along with the people. And that's going to help them become very powerful. And it looks like the relationship may help them become powerful too. Because you got Bill and Hillary Clinton. That's one of the reasons why both of those are almost like untouchable. Now, whenever you have any planets in your 12th house, these could be your guardian angels. Now, Jupiter is saying anytime she needs finances, she'll have it. And Jupiter is saying especially when she serves other people, because your 12th house is the house of service. There's other stuff in the 12th house too, but like I said, you could read that on the report that you got. The 8th house and the 12th house, they're very similar, but they got a lot of stuff going on in it. Now, the moon used to read Pisces. See, whenever you see the moon and Pisces and Sagittarius and Neptune, this is people that are very psychic. And they're also they're already in touch with how people feel. This could be an infat, but some people are just very in touch with what the consciousness is. And they can set up their whole platform on it. And they'll tap right into the people. Because that's what you see her doing in the 11th house. It's almost like she knows how to make escapism work for her. Because, most people do escape. It's always somebody else's fault, not their own. I'm not saying she'll do that. I'm saying she'll know how to use that in her platform. Now, Jupiter retrograde is someone who will question spirituality and stuff like that. But this looks like an innovator. So she'll be able to change things. And remember, Uranus is sort of like a scientist. So Uranus is not just a rebel. Uranus can also be a scientist as well. They can come up with ways to get their agenda. And because 28 is an extreme number, she's willing to work hard and do whatever she's got to do to get to wherever she wants to go. And she's destined for greatness, because as you see the tip of that pyramid points right back to the top. And a Uranus retrograde can also be a person that's unpredictable as well. So her 12th house will be watery though, because she's got the moon there, she's got Pisces, and she may be somewhat of a dreamer because she's the Neptune is a dreamer over Pisces. She might be a dreamer in that way, and she also will have the gift of dreams. She may even be able to have premonitions or whatever in her dreams. But this is all in the 12th house as well. It's funny because this person said Pluto in the 12th house, but they show you Cali. I wonder what that's all about. Yeah, okay, but that's okay because no, Pluto in the 10th. I'm sorry, they show you Cali, but Cali is a goddess, a Hindu goddess, and she don't play. All right, so I just want to do the degree 25 degrees. And see what that one's about. I think we did already talk about it, but we'll look at it again. It says Pluto in the 10th house. Watch out for the darkness. But it's Hindu. It's like a lot of Indian gods and goddesses. And it's a black gentleman talking. I don't know who he is. First time I've ever seen him. And it's funny. It says a commercial came up that says South Jersey Radiology. Yeah, but I'm not on YouTube. I'm watching this from off YouTube, but it did take me to YouTube. His name is Kareem Raymir. He got the Mer there, M-E-R, Raymir, just like America. Yeah, because, the politics can be kind of dark. It just depends. All right, yeah, so I want to do the 25 degree. Yeah, we did. Analytical, intuitive child. It can become 7. See, 7 is a mystical number. So that isn't, that's the spiritual house, which can be mystical. And also mystical, number 7, mystical is also connected to planet Neptune. Because Neptune can also be mystical. And Neptune rules the 12th house because Neptune rules Pisces. And Pisces rules the 12th house. So a lot of these people, like I said, these Eastern Stars and Freemasons, a lot of that stuff is esoteric and mystical stuff as well. So again, a person very perceptive and wise beyond their years, but we already ascertained that this person has lived many past lives. You gotta remember when Barack Obama became president, he immediately went to Egypt, and when he got there, they weren't because he looks like a Kennington, but they wasn't calling him a Kennington. They was calling him King Tut. See, because like our history does not always tell the truth. But he immediately went to Egypt, and then he went back to Egypt again, where he was in a cave or something, and there was a drawing of a Kennington, and he said, "Hey, look at this guy." He said, "It looks like me. I got to be related to that guy. Look at his ears." So he was telling you that I'm bloodline. I'm the bloodline of Fairleigh Kennington or whoever, or Tut, whatever he was telling you. So like I said, it's just telling you how perceptive this person will be. But they will use that for the people. All right. Now we go to the next chart. Now, if you notice, her first house, the east point in the EP, is in the 12th house. Now, when they do that, when they put your first house in the 12th house, it's because you have past life things that have to be dealt with. Now, Saturn retrograde can mean abuse. Either this person was victimized by abuse or they were abusive themselves. And abuse can also just mean bullying the people. But this person has fought the authorities before, and they may even kind of fight the authorities now. And what they have to do in this life, they have to learn patience and compromise. 20 is judgment. So I just got to get their natal to see if that's 23 or 28. So bear with me. Okay, that's 23. Number 23 also connects you to the Sirius constellation. This is why Magic, Air Jordan or Michael Jordan wore 23, and LeBron James. They know that that's the number of the Sirius constellation, and also means that they're gods. That's what they're trying to tell you. I'm connected to the Sirius constellation. All right, so we did talk about the number 23. Two, sensitivity, the high priestess. 3 is the empress of the creator, creativity. And it becomes number 5, which could be the Hierophant or Pope number, which is about marriage, that card. But it could also be something radical or even violence. So you have to be careful with 23. All right. So that's the first. That became the first house. Second house now is Libra, and the second house in Taurus rules that house. So the second house will be connected to the Venus constellation. Third house is going to be Karmic because of the 17, and that's the it could be Saturn, but 17 is also the I think it's the star, which is Aquarius energy. So let's look at that. Yeah. So it is the star, which is Aquarius energy. And again, she'll be like the Virgo energy, number 9. Also, the number 17 becomes number 8 as well, which is Scorpio energy. And you see Scorpio right there. But she'll also have her own light that she'll follow. That's what number 9 is. It's the Virgo energy. It's the Hermit. Okay, part of fortune in the 3rd house. Language and words are important, and joy comes from understanding how other people think. and experience the world around them. You strive to understand how relationships work. This helps you with self-clarity. You earn karma. Your earned karma is a talent for understanding the nature of relationships and communication and in sharing your wisdom with others. Your opposing position is in the 9th house, that's ruled by Sagittarius. Here is the pull to dismiss the consciousness of humans and immerse yourself in spiritual connections. You might get lost in idealism and miss out on the reality that idealism is expressed through the minds of humans. Being a hermit, and I already said that, that's the number 9. Being a hermit in a cave or an ashram or pulls you away from the people you are meant to teach. Balance of body, mind, and spirit is your soul's goal. That's part of fortune in the 3rd house. Now we want to do part of fortune in Scorpio. You seek to understand the mysteries of the universe. Scorpio tears down the old and worn out. Scorpio seeks to uncover deception and expose bare truth. There is no peace nor patience in pure Scorpio. The opposing sign of Taurus seeks to build a stable, secure existence. There is patience and a peace of mind in the security of the well-built foundation. The balancer is in building from a foundation of truth and in showing others new pathways to their truth. And then you go right into your 4th house, which would be family. And there's her Juno and Sagittarius. Now that's implying that her person that she'll be in a serious relationship with will be somebody foreign. Foreign location, foreign speaking, some type of connection to foreign. And Sagittarius rules the 9th house, which is in-laws, higher laws, higher courts, philosophy, your higher self, long distance travel. So this one will have some type of connections to like what we would call foreign, either foreign people or foreign lands. But that's her Juno, and we already talked about the number 24 on the other charts. It's hopefully balancing out the 2 energies so that they can become lovers or number 6. But sometimes there's a battle for number 4, material things or aggression, earthy things, and that could cause problems because you want to be able to balance it out, work together. Now the Pluto goes right at 0 degrees. Pluto causes transformation. And another thing, where you see Uranus on charts, because Uranus will make you see a bigger consciousness than you see. So you may see things a certain way, but Uranus will come and shake up your life to make you see a bigger consciousness. And a lot of times you see Uranus and Pluto working together, because Pluto's going to transform you. Pluto works off of death and resurrection, death and rebirth, regeneration. So Pluto at 0 degrees is coming right in, and it's going right at Capricorn. But see, she's an old soul. That's why I said, whenever you see, even in the same one, the one on the left, same thing. If you notice, Pluto is in Capricorn. That's the same thing as Capricorn being in Scorpio, which is the 8th house. And these are old souls. These are people that have lived probably many lifetimes. But if you like the family, you could tell they were spiritual just by their names. And one name was really unique, but they actually spelled like air. which I thought that was just sheer brilliance. Because when you're doing that, you're talking about angels and stuff like that. And you're also talking about astrology because you got air signs. That's why we do things and we think we're doing it, but it's actually the spirit in us that's doing it. And also we have ancestors that are with us. So in this house, going to be big transformation for her. First, second, third, fourth, fifth. So once again, it's Leo energy. And the other house was Leo, where she meets her Juno. Now this one will meet her Juno in the 4th house, but then it goes right into the 5th house. So Pluto's going to cause big transformation. It's an old soul there. And this is a fun house. So she may have a, but there's also, it's Jupiter, but at 16 degrees. So it's still going to be, the tower goes down. That's Mars energy. The tower, and if you look, you know I'm right, because look at the chart. Look at her Pluto, goes right up to that. Now guess what? When you see that Pluto go up to that Mars sign, that's like a Professor Griff, because that's how his natal chart is. See, that's like a pro whatever. Like whatever she put her mind to, she's ready for war. Like she's gonna be about that. Like with that Capricorn, that Pluto, and that Mars, this is the person that's about that. Alright, give me a second because one of my pens fell and I hate losing pens. Alright. Yeah, I'm going to put this on pause real quick and try to find that pen. So I think she could fight. And maybe she might not even know it yet. But you know her. I don't really know. I'm just looking at her chart. But I think she could probably fight. She's not joking around. Now, the full moon of February 19th looks a little bit like that. But she's operating off the 4th house, the 5th house, the 10th house, and 11th house. Those are going to be strong points for her. She will fight for her family. She'll hurt something. She's going to be serious. Like, I'm not saying she can't. I think personally, this is what I think. I think she probably is a fun person, but she ain't about that bull. She's not about no games. Now, because when you have Capricorn in the 5th house, the 5th house is supposed to be fun, but Capricorn is real serious, usually. So when you see Capricorn in the 5th house, this is either somebody that knows how to make business off of fun, because you do see her getting money with Jupiter. Or it's somebody who, let's say y'all going out, they want to know where you're going. Like they want to know, like if you was going to the amusement park, they would want to know like where the rides is at. Like most kids, when they go to the amusement park, they just want to get on a ride. They just, as soon as they get out the car, they just want, where the rides? We don't care. Let's just go. They don't want to look at no maps. They don't want to stop and look at nothing. They just want to run and run to the rides. But a Capricorn in the 5th house, they're going to kind of like want to stop. Because you know how you go to an amusement park and you can stop at certain spots and they'll tell you where everything is at? A Capricorn in the 5th house will be like that. They want to have an idea where we going, what's this about, and this and that. They take the fun out of fun. But it's still fun for them, but it's not fun for other people because they don't want to be stopping. They want to just run and have fun. They don't care about all that other stuff. But the Capricorn would probably be the one that, if y'all got lost, they would have maps or be able to get y'all out of it or something. The Capricorn in the 5th house. Now her moon is at 27 degrees. And again, 27 degrees is really the diplomat or the humanitarian. That's her 5th house. 6th house is service. Again, service to the people. That's what I'm saying. Power to the people. Service to the people, Aquarius. And the 6th house is ruled by Virgo, but it's about service, health, healing, the home, small children, small animals, co-workers, subordinates. So she's really about her family, or even the community, what's going on with the people. Like she really cares. And again, but she got that 16 again. Now the reason why she got 16 following her, because like I told you, she don't mind. Like you gotta understand, when you're dealing with Pluto and Scorpio, they don't fear like falling, because they'll get back up. Pluto and Scorpio, they're real strong, and Scorpios can heal real good, and Scorpios are very supernatural. They can read stuff, they can read people's emotions and stuff, and they can know stuff that they shouldn't know. Like it's kind of like when you a child and your mother's out of town and you do something and there's no way she should know what you did, and you clean up and everything, and almost as soon as she walk in the house, she walk right to that spot that you messed up. She just know. That's that Scorpio energy or that Pluto energy. And they heal good, and they can also heal other people. And they can get to the truth. Like if you're trying to lie to them, they can just see right through you and get to the truth. So you keep seeing 16 on her chart, because I think I saw it before. I might be confusing her chart with the one to the left. But anyway, you see it right here, 16 with Mercury. So yeah, and so her tongue, probably when she get mad, but her tongue will tear you down. Her 16 is a Tower card, and it tears you down, but it tears you down so it can build you back up. And then she got her Chiron. Give me a moment. Alright, I gotta look at something. Okay, her Chiron is direct. It's not retrograde. So that's healing. And I believe, what did I say? This is in the 6th house. And the 6th house is about healing. So that means she's got the gift of healing. Meaning she'll also heal very well. Remember, a lot of times, not to scare anybody, but when you're dealing with Pluto and Scorpio, a lot of times you do see these people do get in accidents and stuff. But they heal. Even if it look real bad. See, that's why I be trying to tell people when you say you spiritual, because I've been through a whole lot, but I always believe in God and spirit, so I always get healing. My last one was real bad. It didn't look like it was going to heal or nothing, but I just kept believing in God. You got to believe in that, because I'm telling you, especially with strong Pluto placements and stuff like that, this is stuff that can happen. And that's why when you understand spirit, that's why I hope this woman listens to this. When you really believe in spirit, that's what you teach your kids. And therefore, no matter what they go through, they'll know who they are, number one. Or number two, however you want to say it. But they also know God. But you got power too. So don't act like you don't have power. See, religion don't teach you all that. Religion make you think, oh, you powerless unless you do it this way. But the truth is, when you use these natal charts, you see who you are. So you got power too. Just like if an angel had a difficulty, the angel could get out of it. The angel could call God too. The angel could say, oh, God, help me. But the angel could get out of it itself because he got power or she got power. We got power too. You got to remember that. Because there really should be no fear. That's why they gave you Psalms 23. He said he ain't have no fear. It took a while to get there, but he had, and Apostle Paul was the same way. You could put Apostle Paul on a ship, take it to the middle of the sea, and then sink it, and he still wasn't gonna worry about it, because that's what they're trying to tell you with all this Pluto and stuff, because that's how you change. Now, if you notice, I told you about Mars 16, and when you look up where that Pluto is pointing, right at Mars, and that's the 29 is the karmic degree, or the anaretic degree. So there she is, and then 17, Chiron, so she's a healer, and 17 can also be karmic, but 17 is also the star, which is Aquarius, and you see Aquarius sitting right there in the same house. Her Venus is 18 degrees, the moon, and that's going to be like really great love, especially for other people, but I believe it's for a relationship love as well. And I'm right, because then right next to Venus is Neptune at 22 degrees. And again, that's the master number. Now she has two placements of 22. The female on the left has one placement on her chart of 22. But 22 is the person who's capable of perfect, like we'll say higher dimensional love. I won't say perfect love, but I'll say higher dimensional love. Now remember what I told you. The chart on the left, they're given an offer of 22 spiritual with Vesta, but they choose to be a fighter for the people, or they choose the power of the people. So their medium Coeli went down to 4. Means they don't want unconditional, they don't want that higher vibrational love, because they're not going to be able to use it for what they're going into. But now in this chart in the middle, look what they did. They're giving the offer of 22 degrees greater love. And when you get the medium Coeli, they kept it. So this one will demonstrate unbelievable love. But what's unique about her is she has great love, but just like her anger to fight is just as great as her love. And that's why they're together. Mars is right there. So she will fight for what she believes. She's not scared. And I know she'll tear somebody up for her family. And what's unique about her love is like for the people. Both of those signs, Aquarius and Gemini, are the people, the brotherhood, the surroundings. So that's an unselfish love. But see, I don't know how many lifetimes she's lived, but she's showing perfect love. It's not over no dude or nothing like that. Unless his sign is Aquarius or his sign is Gemini, which it might be, but that's still, I know that's a great love for the people. Now we get to the 7th house, but she does have to be careful because see, Pisces, they sacrifice, they sabotage themselves. Pisces rules the 12th house, and they say that's the house of sabotage, that's the house of undoing, because they sacrifice too much. Like they start serving so much that they actually hurt themselves. And even Virgo is a service of the 6th house, and that's what she has. Well, that's in her 1st house. But still, you gotta be careful of too much service. So Pisces, in a relationship, you give too much. So that's the main thing you would have to teach her, the balance of a relationship. Because you shouldn't teach, like it has to be balanced. No woman should give a man everything because he's not going to appreciate it. And he'll probably cheat on her. That's just the way you live. People they take stuff for granted. So people have to know their worth and they have to know their value. And they have to make sure other people around them know that. Because then it's a less chance they're going to try to take advantage of you. So she has to know that. If not, it's going to hurt her in a relationship because she's going to be giving too much. She's going to be sacrificing too much. I like her though. She's a soldier. This one is a soldier. She's a fighter. She's a soldier, and she really is. She's like that one. She's that 100% woman. She'll fight for her family. She'll fight for her man. She'll fight for the people. She'll fight, 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 and she's got all this unbelievable love. But she'll get played out because people won't fight for you, or they're not going to fight for you as hard as you're fighting for them. I'm a Leo, so I already know. So when you know these things, if you pass it on, you can help them a little bit, because then they'll know and they won't make the same mistakes. This is why you have natal charts, astrology, and when you have people that take this stuff seriously and not bubblegum astrology, but you actually have real astrology like I do, this is how you see all these people coming out with their strong points, because now we know what they are and we know what to look at. And when they see it themselves, they're going to want to do it because it's their chart. They'd be happy to see it. Usually. Sometimes it might take them a minute to appreciate it, but they will, believe me. Because nobody has this. Nobody really knows. So that's her 7th house. And you see she's got Vesta there, so she's a very spiritual person. Vesta's at 7, which is mystical. And then her vertex is 11 degrees. The vertex is your fate, your destiny. It could be a significant meeting that you will have. It could be a significant breakup that you have. It could be you meeting your soulmate, or it could be you meeting your twin flame. Now, your twin flame is your twin soul. Same soul, different body. Your soulmate is anybody that's in your soul tribe, your soul family, but it's usually somebody that you have some type of closer connection to. Could be a lover, but it doesn't have to be a lover, not your soulmate. And sometimes you'll meet your twin flame, and you two might not even love then. They might just come in your life to kind of push you somewhere or help you some type of way, and then they go out of your life. And then sometimes they don't. They'll be with you. Now her sun sign, again, is 13 degrees. And that's the death. That's Scorpio energy. So she's going to be highly psychic. But this is what I'm trying to tell you. Just so you know, she probably will go through some really extreme situations. And you're probably going to be very, very upset. But I'm telling you right now, she's going to come through it. And some, like Stevie Wonder, got in a really bad car accident. And then after that accident, that's when he became way more like an activist. But it took that dangerous car accident that turned him into an activist. And look at her sign. So her sun sign is 13 degrees, which is the death or Scorpio energy. And then her Uranus is 18 degrees with the 22 again. Her Uranus is 18 degrees, which is the moon again. So it's like the sun and the moon are telling you that we're in control over here. We got this. Eighth house. Yeah, where's her palace at? Uh-oh. Her palace is at 29 degrees. That's the karmic degree. Now I gotta look up that number 50. See, whenever it jumps to the 50 like that, that's something big. Because if you notice, look at both don't look at because I didn't look at the right chart yet, so don't even look at that one. But look at the left chart and the one in the middle. This is the first time you saw a number 50. Whenever it gets into the 50, that's significant. So that card, that palace is her soulmate. And remember, your twin flame can be your soulmate, but your soulmate can't be your twin flame. "29 degrees. Pisces. This is brilliant. All right, so we got to do it again. Let's see if we still have it up. We don't still have it up. And now it would be nice if we had a palace, if they would tell us, but I know they're not going to. Palace, 29 degrees. Yeah, because I looked for it before. Nope. All right, so let's go in. So now, this is what I think it's saying. Because I already told you the whole. So you have to understand the sun and the moon. And remember, the Egyptians knew that the sun and the moon was very much aware. All you got to do is look at the Egyptian art and their hieroglyphics. And they all had the sun on their head and the moon on their head. So they knew. Because in this 7th house of relationships, the sun and the moon are very, very interested. Now, there's a reason why Palace shows up at 29 degrees. But it has to do with the sun and the moon. Now, the 29 degrees represents either getting too much of something or too little of something. Now, what did I tell you? Pisces gives, and they ain't going to get back. And what you got to understand, when you say, I'm going to love my man, I'm going to love him so good, and blah, 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 you actually hurt yourself. Now, I definitely tell you don't treat him like garbage. Because over here on the West, like if I give you a quick history, see, I was there. See, I was a little kid when women used to be home and it was father knows best and all that stuff. And they were home and men treated them like, this is what I'm saying, men treated them like trash. I was there, beat them up. I saw it all. But I also saw when a woman finally rebelled and they overthrew the men. And I'm glad they did it because they should have did it because the men didn't appreciate them. I agree with y'all 100%. But then you women took it too damn far. I'm sorry. Excuse me. You took it too far. So now we got these crazy families. Kids don't know where the daddy at. And all kind of crazy stuff. So it went too far. You definitely should have fought for yourself. I was with you in the 70s when you were marching up and down with your bras off and all the crazy stuff you do to make your point. I was with you the whole time. But it's too crazy. Now we don't even know what a family is. So what I'm trying to tell you is the sun and the moon are there for a reason under the degree. The sun is literally there, but the moon is there too under the 18 degrees. That's the moon. Now, so they're interested in her. This is where they both show up in the house of relationship. Business partner relationships, seriousness in a relationship. And he's there because you see the vertex. And also Vesta's there, so she's interested too. So why is everybody so interested about her 7th house? Because it's like I told you. Because if they don't show up and help her, she's going to sacrifice everything for the guy. I'm not saying he's not worth it, but he's not perfect. That's what I'm saying. And because he's not perfect, he's going to take it for granted. So now the 29 degree, this degree represents getting either too much or too little of something. And the last degree of 29 can often describe a desperate situation because they know who she is. And she can't mess her whole life up chasing no guy that's not going to appreciate her. So the sign that the celestial point or planet occupies represents the area of life that remains unsatisfied. Spiritual, because she has a spiritual calling. And not only that, but she's going to help a whole lot of people. You see it on the chart. So you can't be flipping out over some man that ain't going to appreciate you because you got a mission, a powerful mission. So the planet, which in this case, well, it's an asteroid, it's Pallas. But they say it's looking forward to taking her into the new sign, which is Scorpio. And remember, Scorpio is the 8th house. It can mean power. But they're letting you know the 29 degrees is telling you it's a karmic situation. Karmic assignment, or a karmic situation, or a karmic debt. So it's 29 degrees Pisces. This denotes the end of a subconscious or exiled cycle. Individuals may be released from either a physical prison or a subconscious guilt-ridden self-induced prison. What am I telling you? You love your man so much that no matter how wrong he is, you blame yourself. That's what Pisces does. Look it up. Very seldom they'll sacrifice themselves. They call the 12th house that Pisces rules the house of self-undoing. You undo yourself. Or you're so busy helping out everybody that they just take advantage of you, burn you out, and they don't even show up at your funeral. So you got to know how much to do and what you ain't going to do. See, that's what your lady should have did. Once you beat the men down, should have just let them know. Because now we don't know what the heck's going on. So they say this degree denotes misfortune and dissatisfaction. But I kind of am trying to tell you that if when you train them, and if they can see it, it won't. But if you don't, then she's going to go through it. But they're coming anyway. The sun, the moon, and Pallas at 29 degrees, they're going to bring a new life. On the horizon as old cycles dissolve, because she has a mission. So they can't have her unevenly yoked with a man that's not going to understand that mission or care enough about her to be a part of that mission. Now listen, 29 degrees Pisces says, unfortunately, suicide or murder is possible with this anaretic placement, because that's a 29 anaretic degree. But I already told you, I see it on the chart as far as these things happening. But I also told you, you could help avoid it. That's why I said, this is why we're here. We're not here to be our children's best friends. We're not here to take our daughters and things out to the mall and dress like them and all that. We've forgotten what parenting is. Don't get mad at me for telling you guys the truth. Because I almost cried earlier. I did a chart. It's two little girls are dead here in Belmar, New Jersey. Because when they told the woman, the mother, whoever she was, that we're going to the beach to go swimming with no lifeguards, the woman let them go. And now they're both dead. I almost busted out crying every time I think about it. That's called poor parenting, and there's no excuse for it. Because had that little girl said, hey, Mom, I'm going to play with your shoes. Hey, Mom, I'm going to color on your shoes. She would have grabbed her up and probably beat that little girl's tail. But the girl would still be alive. So you love your shoes more than you love your child swimming in the beach by herself with no lifeguards. But I'm wrong for bringing it up. Like I'm supposed to be like everybody else and go hush hush. Because this is what they said. Oh, this is why we come here to the shore. This is why we come to the shore in the summertime to swim at the beach. That's what they were more worried about, the beach closing or them changing policies than 2 lives that were taken. So that is poor parenting. In that case. So when you see these warnings, you know how to prepare. Not to be scared, not to stress somebody out. That's not what I said. Never said nothing like that. But when a person can see it, they're more inclined to say, you know what? My natal chart is right. I'm starting to give this guy too much attention and too much. I got to fall back. Simple as that. But what I'm trying to tell you, despite what happens, she's in good hands because the sun is right there and Uranus is there to help her too. So is Pallas. And the moon is there at 18 degrees. So now they bring her into the 8th house. And you see Aries there. But we already know she's a fighter. So maybe that's why they put Aries in her 8th house. Because that is the power house. And maybe that's why, listen, maybe that's why they made her first house Virgo instead of Libra. See, her first house should really be Libra, where it says number 1, but they made her first house Virgo because they don't want her. Maybe in a past life she's already did a relationship, so they don't want her to repeat that again. When I say they, whoever set these natal charts up, y'all might say creator, I always say they. All right, now her 9th house is the teacher. This is the first time we've seen 21 degrees. That's the karmic, that's the world card, Saturn energy, karma. So this is a karmic assignment. Taurus in the 9th house is the teacher, because Sagittarius rules the 9th house. They're both teachers. They're both teachers. And remember, Taurus is the number 5 card. It's the Hierophant or the priest. But this can also be a female, a priestess, or it might be the man in her life. Who knows? But either way, it's a karmic situation. They will be nurturing with the asteroid is Kyrus, the nurturer. But Taurus has got to make sure that he doesn't bully people in the 9th house. And Taurus has got to make sure that he doesn't use the 9th house to benefit himself. Because they put Taurus in the 9th house to serve the people. You can look it up. You can go to astrologyclub.org and they'll tell you the same thing, Taurus in the 9th house. And they'll tell you the universe puts Taurus in the 9th house so that it be a servant and that he won't use it to benefit himself. Not saying you can't benefit yourself a little bit, but you're there to serve the people. And then look, going to the 10th house, which is the career, is Gemini. And Gemini rules the 3rd house as well, but this is publishing. This is actually training young children or training like immature humans or maybe inexperienced humans. This is the early stage. And this is communications, creativity. It's the twins, the Gemini twins. It could be multitasking. And then this is 22. 22 means she has taken the she stayed with the more superb love, the higher than 3rd dimensional love. Now, medium quality also works with a person's true north node. Her true north node is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th house with Virgo, service, but service to the people. So when you go right across from her 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, her 6th house, it goes right across. Well, this chart's a little bit differently, but usually the house opposing your 6th house is the 12th house. Maybe that's what it is. Let me look at it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, it is a 12th house. So that's her past life in this case. And it has Leo energy, endings, and things like that. So maybe in her past life she was a leader, and then they're trying to teach her to be more of a servant in this life. Not saying she won't be a leader, but her mentality is more like serve as opposed to leading. And that medium Coeli is also helping her. And medium Coeli can also be a woman, like a person's mother. It just depends on the placement. But it could also be a male. It all depends on what energy is up there. Okay, so that was the 10th house, I believe. Now the 11th house is friends, association, and groups. But she has Cancer there, which means family. Cancer is teenage to adult education, land and property or real estate, your ancestors or your family, your heart or your vehicle or travel, and it could also be your mother with the Imam Coeli. And she'll be in your subconscious mind for your entire life. And the moon, remember the moon rules Cancer, so wherever your moon is at, and they're making a Cancer Capricorn connection, because in her case her moon sign is now Capricorn. But that's because they wanted her to be more serious minded in this life. See, that's what I'm saying. Her past life was Leo. Leo is a fun guy. See, Leo rules the 5th house where they put Capricorn. So in her previous life, she may have been more jovial, jokative, joking and stuff like that, and maybe a little childish, because Leo can be childlike. So in this life, that's her south node, that's her past life. So in this life, the north node, they want her to be a little bit more serious about service. And the 12th house is still something she has to work on in this life. So they kind of are making, but I told you, I said the reason why they put her ascendant in that house, because she has stuff to work on again. But now her 12th house is where Leo is. So they still want her to be have a sense of humor with the people, but her main concern is service. And also, I think they made her Leo in the 12th house so that she won't get bullied. Because see, where her sun sign is with Pisces, and see, the sun rules Leo. So they kind of did it that way so that she won't get bullied too much. Because there's something about her 7th house. That's a relationship, and she probably got bullied even in a past life. Because if you notice, in her first house, they didn't put nothing there. They left it empty. Like, they don't even want her to think about, like, and they didn't want her to really, not saying she can't do it, but it can't be her biggest thing, because it's not going to work. Like, you're not going to go against the universe. In this life, she has a purpose. And they're not going to let no man bully her and stuff. That's why I said, sometimes you got to be careful. Because, like, a man might not be aware of that, but they will take him out if necessary. They're not going to let no man bully her. Even if she's naive and kind of lets it happen, or if she sets it up to happen because she's being too nice, they're not going to let that happen. She's got a purpose. All right. It was funny because I was just thinking about it something when I was a little kid, but it was reruns. Like I said, when I was young, I used to watch a lot of TV. But it was reruns. But I used to watch My Three Sons, and now it's like Her Three Daughters, which is kind of funny because I was just thinking about My Three Sons like the other night. All right. Oh yeah, we gotta look at that number 58. Oh yeah, plus we gotta look at the karmic degree over here. So let's do it again. And they did it again. They did a 52. See, they go high with these 50s. Gotta find out why. And I hope I can find a website, because there's a website that tells you this stuff. All right. First, let's look at... No, I don't want to do it that way. Should I do it that way? All right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to read it first. Now, if it makes sense, I'll talk about it. But if it doesn't make sense, I'm not reading it. Because sometimes they be way off with what they're talking about. So I don't even want to bring that in. All right, 29 degrees Cancer. Passionate, independent, and intuitive character. One is a freedom lover and uses one's bright intellectual facilities to do good because one is driven by a strong sense of justice. Feelings may prevail over reason. Life is clouded with uncertainties and instability, but ordeals are overcome with remarkable courage and self-confidence. Occupations related to seafaring and water are very favored. All right. So now 29 degrees. This is the analytic degree. It's also a karmic degree. It could signify the end of a cycle. Say, well, does that mean something's going to happen with her family? Because that's a family sign. But you got to remember, it's the family sign, but it's in friends, association, and groups. Because sometimes you're too nice. And like I said, sometimes people just don't deserve you. You know, this is stuff, I learned all this when I was younger. See, I did that whole religious thing in the 1980s and stuff like that. And I really was searching for the truth, but it just was just crazy. It's a lot of politics, a lot of crazy stuff. So I went from being a really nice guy that they was taking advantage of, not because I'm a sucker, I just really believed it. Because that's what, see, Neptune and Pisces is idealistic, and they believe it, but our life is realistic. So you say, oh, people should love one another, but they don't. So you have to deal with the reality. Don't deal with the idealism, because that's how you get played out. That's how people be getting raped and stuff, because you be trusting people you shouldn't have trusted, or you be leaving your little kids with priests and stuff like that. See, that's idealism. You don't believe that. You got to have realism. I'm not leaving my kids with nobody. You understand? You could get beat up just by saying, hey, I'll watch your son. Let me pray. No, you're not praying with my kid. I pray with my kid. Get your little pervert hands off my child. So I'm a realist now, but that's because in the 80s I was idealistic, and I learned how wicked people can be. Just being honest. I'm not being pessimistic, just being honest. So you have to know that when you go out into the world. Never be so idealistic that you put yourself in a harmful situation. And you already saw it on the natal chart, what they're saying is possible. So you don't want suicide. You don't want none of that. But the only way you can do that is teach the truth. Like, one of my favorite episodes of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Because when that show came on, you have to give those people credit. Because everybody liked the show. They were already being number one. They were already going out. But every now and then they would talk about social issues, which they didn't have to do. They already had the number one rating. But one of my best episodes was when they opened up the book and started reading about racism, how it was wrong. And then Will Smith went, nah, I'm just joking. And he closed the book, and then the show went off. Like to say, you know, but they made sure they let you know that just because we black and we out here acting like coons to make you laugh, you know, we are aware of social issues. And that's why that was so good, because he was willing to do that. He didn't have to do that. So some people started saying, should we be teaching our children about these things? And the overall answer was like, yeah. Like that, what Will Smith did on that episode, it got other people talking. Like, yeah, why are we not talking about this? Why are we so scared to tell these devils of the history of what they did to us? Why are we so afraid? And now you see it's like 30 years later, but now you see more and more people are being less and less afraid, because that's the only way you're going to have to deal with it. You can't be afraid. You can't be afraid of no evil, and you can't be afraid of no beast. So tap back into that Pluto power and all that power you see on her chart, because she's going to, all this is people, she's going to change. Cancer in the 11th house. Gemini in the 10th. See, that's your career. That's your goal. That's your life purpose. Aquarius, wherever Aquarius was. I think that was in the 6th house, I think. The service. See, that's her mission. That's her purpose. So that's what she has to be focusing on. So that she doesn't let her Pisces or her Neptune cause her to get somewhere that's going to hurt her or lead her to want to hurt herself. So 29 degrees Cancer in the 11th house, you're probably, certain people you may be calling family, but they're not really family. So they have to be gotten rid of. You got to move on. That's why I say I know God's with me. God been with me a long time. Now, people may not like a lot of stuff I say or do, but I've always been 100 with God. I never fake with God. That's why I know scripture so well. I never play games with God, but I see a lot of people do. And I know the politics of this planet we're on, and I know the politics of religions, all these fake ass, all these different denominations and all that stuff. I know it, so I don't play those games. And I'm not going somewhere where it's not healthy. And you hear what these people are doing to each other. Look at that pastor, he's dead now, Eddie Bishop. He was taking them boys on planes. Now, those planes were being paid for by the congregation. Now, how many planes do you need? You and Kenneth Copeland and all you people using all this money that could be going to feeding the poor or helping people with the gospel, but you're using that money to buy planes and big old jets. And y'all drive jets that are better than the jet that the president flies on. So he would take these boys on jets, little teenage boys, and once he got them up on them jets, he would assault them and molest them. This is Bishop. And you see how big he was, and then he got caught the disease, the sexual disease, and then that's what killed him. So that's why you don't have to use your Pisces, because that's the churches, Pisces and all that. And Neptune, that's deception. You got to be careful. I didn't say it was all wrong. I just said be careful, because that's what's on her chart. And see, God has purposes for people. We're beautiful. We're angels. We're angelic. You understand? And then we go into this world, and then look at us. We become victims. And then some of us want to commit suicide because we became victims. And also, like I said, there was a female that came out here that was filled with the Holy Spirit. But then she got down with the Eastern stars and all that. And now she's nothing compared to what she used to be. No disrespect to her, but I'm just saying. I don't know if it was this video or not, but I was just talking about Bridget Wright, Evangelist Bridget Wright. When she first came out, look at her numbers. You could tell she was filled with the holy presence of God. But then the church took her, the Eastern stars and all that took her, and now her numbers are a lot lower. And now you don't see it no more. So that's why I said if I'm going to teach, I'm going to tell the truth, and you see it on the chart. So the 29 degrees is telling you this degree represents either getting too much or too little of something, because you don't need to be calling people family in the friends association and group sector. They're not your family. They're friends association and groups, and you got to be careful because some of them might be perverts, some of them might be crazy, some of them might be looking at you for the wrong reasons. So you got that 29 there kind of warning you, just like the other 29 was a warning. And that was in a relationship sector because you don't want no guy taking advantage of you. Very few people are capable of 22 degrees love, just to let you know. Anybody that's capable of 22 degrees love and maintaining it, that's a special person. So they said the sign represents the area of life that needs to be examined, and that's a sign of Cancer. But again, you got to remember where it's at. It's Cancer in the 11th house. So that's when you take friends, association, and groups and start calling them family, but they're not really your family. That's the dangers. That's like calling a priest a holy man when he's a pervert. You should call him what he is, pervert. And finally, some of these men are starting to have to go to jail because times are changing. Because years ago, all they did was smack them on the wrist and send them somewhere else to keep on molesting children. These men never saw jail time back in the day. So that 29 degrees at 0 degrees. No, 29 degrees, so it's getting ready to go into... Oh, okay, let me back up. It's 29 degrees Gemini. It is not 29 degrees Cancer. It's just on that line. It's 29 degrees Gemini. So let's go back. So Gemini in the 10th house. So we got to figure out what about that is 29 degrees. So it's still karmic in Gemini. Now, just you know what Gemini is, whatever I said about Gemini, but it is the twins as well. So let's see what 29 degrees Gemini is. This denotes the end of a mental cycle. Natives seem mentally overwhelmed or bored. Unfortunately, an end of relationships with siblings, cousins, or neighbors is indicated. Because that's what this is the end of anything in the 3rd house. But remember, they've already mentioned the mental primarily. Gemini rules the 3rd house. If you go back to her 3rd house, it's Scorpio. And the last time we saw 29 degrees, where was it? It's right before you got to the 8th house. Right before. So that's interesting. Yeah. So like I said, it's a self-sacrificing. That's the mental. It has to change. In order for her to be where she needs to be, she's gonna. But I had already said that. I said that when we were in that house. That's what's got to change. Like she can't love somebody so much that she hurts herself. So 29 degrees, Gemini is you have to change how you feel about certain things. Or if you're depressed, like depression, because that's mental too, that's thought. Because that's the highest point on her chart, and that's her life purpose. But still, what I said about treating friends, association, and groups like family is not a good idea, because you really don't. They're not really family, and it's the same thing of calling a priest when he's a pervert. You should call him what he is, because if you know the man's a priest, you won't leave your kids around him. See, this is more about not getting caught up in idealism, but dealing with reality, and that just protects yourself. All right, so I think this does in her chart as well. So now we're going over to the final chart. Okay. Now her ascendant, and we're still dealing with Gemini energy. Still dealing with Gemini energy. Her first house is in the 12th house, making it the first house. Gemini energy. Brotherhood, the people around you, the environment around you, your siblings, young children, or adults that are a little immature or inexperienced. It could be education. It could be publishing. It's people that think very well, mental people, analytical people, twins, multitasking. That's all Gemini energy. (26) we said was 26 degrees ascendant. We said that was like the voice of divine. Oh yeah, we didn't do it. We got to go back to the 50s. We definitely got to do those 50s. Now, y'all got to give me a moment, because there's actually a website that I found that deals with some of these numbers. I think I found it. Let me see. Yep. Now I want to put them all together. So give me a moment. Where are you? Where are you? All right. Now we're looking at the number. Let's do the number 52 first. The number 52 is a number of introspection, so that's going inward, and expression of a personal sense of freedom. It is studious and mentally sharp. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9. See, your ninth house is also about freedom with Sagittarius energy, but this is your 10th house, but it's at the final point of being in that 10th house. And usually your 10th house is about career and reputation, but like if you do have a career, that could make you feel free though, because you may not have to depend on somebody. The energy the number 52 represents tends to do whatever attracts its attention as desirable to experience, but not on a whim. It analyzes what it experiences and what it observes. See, now they say 52 is the number of introspection, mental acuity, and expressions of personal freedom. Because remember, they said mental. They said the number 29 has something to do with the mental, changing something in the mental. And now number 52 is also a number of mental. But see, that word introspect is always inward. So maybe they'll help her not be introspect. They may make her go outwardly. Let's see. So introspection is the examination or observation of one's own mental and emotional process. So that 29 and 52 is definitely dealing with that in her 10th house. Which Gemini is a mental, but see, in her 3rd house, I'm going to do that again. It's just it's unique how they have it. Yeah, but her 3rd house is Scorpio. So it might be something with that Scorpio energy. Because that's the mind as well and stuff like that. '52 constantly acquires knowledge of and about itself and its experiences. It is perpetually accumulating wisdom. And we did say that earlier, but I don't remember which chart we were talking about. But they said this particular person will always be acquiring wisdom. Not only about itself and its experience, but also about individuals and about the physical and spiritual universe. Social gatherings are seen as an opportunity to interact with others. But they told you, they said number 29 is pushing you to the very next house. And that is the next house. Social gatherings is Aquarius, is friends, is association, is groups. This person would like to become aware of points of views, new points of views, observing people's actions and reflections in groups, and experiencing the ambience of the gathering. So what I think is happening, I think 29 is actually helping them become more people, resonating more with the people. That's why you had to study both numbers. It's 29 and 52. So 29 up there up top on her chart is actually going to help her get ready for the 11th house of friends, association, and groups. 52 can discuss anything. It generally prefers subjects about learning, experiencing new things, spiritual or scientific philosophies. It prefers free conversation rather than confrontation, and openness rather than self-centeredness. So this person, they may have some type of connection with science as well, because they keep saying science. But like I said, Gemini is communications and all that. But they may actually have a career, interviewing people and things like that. But they appear that they'll be very good at it. All right, now we got to look at that. I think it was number 58. So it's pragmatic energy. It's trying to build a foundation for the future. Serious consideration. And it says it again, that number 5 brings personal freedom. The digit 8 brings a focus on business and managing people on large projects. Together, 58 reduces to the number 4, because it goes 5 and 8 is 13. And that's the number of death and rebirth. And then number 4, which brings in virtually all the energy represented by the number 4. The energy represented by the number 58 can be seen as highly focused on building the future, yet with a playful side that tends to alleviate what could otherwise tend to be a wholly serious approach to life. So that number 58 is what's going on in her 5th house. See, anytime you hear the word pragmatic, that's like saying Capricorn. So it's number 5, which is Leo or the 5th house, and number 8 or pragmatic, which is the 8th house with Scorpio or Capricornian. So that's why the way she views relationships is going to be different, which is good because of that Pisces. Because if she viewed it like a Pisces, she would be used. But I told you, that's why they got Leo. They even got Leo in her 12th house. So she's not going to view relationships like a female going head over heel, thinking her man is the greatest man in the world and he can't do no wrong. And if she does, something's going to happen that's going to make her change that viewpoint. So 58 is focus, pragmatism, which is Capricorn energy, being serious about that business. Then it says business, and she'll also have a personal sense of freedom. When you have a personal sense of freedom, you're not going to let somebody bully you or manipulate you. Conscientiousness and adventure. So that was very good. Now we can go to the final chart. All right, so her ascendant will be Gemini, so she and her sister in the middle will have that in common, the good communication skills. Now, Venus is retrograde. Like when you have Venus, it's usually like in a past life. You may have had a problem with love. Let's look that one up. Let's look up Venus retrograde. A Venus retrograde focuses on romantic relationships and intimate emotions. Suppressed feelings may come to the surface and you may find new ways to express them. And that's probably why they put it in Gemini, because Gemini is communications. People may reevaluate what they want from life and from those around them. And during this retrograde, they may seek these new desires elsewhere. Even individual value systems can come into question. What we value most may seem unimportant, or what we disagreed with before can now seem that it's not so bad. We may find ourselves reevaluating the meaning of personal views such as friendship, love, intimacy, and even spiritual beliefs. Now they say that about Gemini. They say that about Gemini anyway. Because they be like, oh, Gemini is a two-faced. One minute they want to be with you, the next minute they don't. One minute they act like they're your friend, next minute they act like they don't want to have nothing to do with you. So now it says if you have a Venus retrograde, then in a past life, you may have had some relationship issues, and you may have some in this life that need to be overcome. In your past incarnation, you feel inhibited or restrained to seek what you really wanted in life. There were probably also external forces beyond your control to keep you and your lover apart in either the same past life or another that's also influencing your current embodiment. Therefore, you may have never learned how to conduct a mature, productive relationship in this lifetime. And it's said they're saying that. You know why? Because they don't know that that's in Gemini. Because that's Gemini anyway. Gemini is going to have relationship problems even if Venus retrograde isn't there. So they may have problems connecting with their mate and sustaining intimate relationships with others. And you may seek fulfillment from your partner, but that always seems to come up short. And they said some of these influences that apply to emotional matters can also apply to financial issues as well. Especially in today's society where we place personal happiness and financial security hand in hand. So you may never quite feel that you have had enough in your pockets, and therefore your self-worth can become a personal issue for you. To overcome these lessons of relationship in this life, try to focus on what you really want in a relationship and consider your choice of partners carefully. Good advice for everyone, but especially for those with Venus retrograde. Only you can make yourself happy. That's interesting. All right. And then her sun sign is 0 degrees Cancer. And this is in the second house ruled by Taurus. Again, the first house is ruled by Aries. Second house ruled by Taurus, and it's Cancer. And the second house is about her value system, finances, and possessions. But she equates her income or her finances with family, because the 6-9 is family. Now, 3 energy is also children, like children, but it's also the Empress, creativity level. And remember, Mercury is still Gemini. Mercury rules Gemini, and Virgo, which is the home. So she's really going to be like set on home and family. And then her palace is right there. And palace is usually your soulmate or your twin, whoever, twin soul. And that's also 3 degrees. So there might be some children here. Maybe children with her at an early age. All right, let me find palace again. All right, now let me do this again. All right. Palace, and we'll do Palace and Cancer first. Let's just see what that says. If Palace is in Cancer, you battle for the safety of your home and those you love. You use emphatic and intuitive intelligence to solve problems and seek answers. Fairness is equated with a give and take within your intimate environment, and you are less concerned with what is owned or possessed than what is shared emotionally. Aww. Your warrior protects your rights to be loved unconditionally. Your creative gifts are found in an ability to create a thing with warmth, connectivity, and heart. You cannot tolerate knowing or feeling what others you cannot tolerate knowing or feeling that others are unloved. So she's already got the whole motherly thing going on. Like my true north node is Cancer in the second house too. Anybody that's got that, they're gonna be motherly. So she's already got that going on, and I'm pretty sure she will have children early. Now, the funny thing about Palace in the because that is Palace in the second house. So let's see what they say. Now let me see if this one talks about it. All right, palace in the houses. They say this person will have a financial strategy. They will have a battle plan to meet survival needs, understanding how personal values impact the world at large, having forceful intellect when it comes to money matters, holistic understanding of personal values, tracking spending and earning patterns, seek the larger economical picture, holistic understanding of economics, finances, and possessions. This is hilariously funny because I'm seeing a little girl is really good like with money or worrying about money, and it's making me laugh. Like it's like I mean I know this happens though. Don't get me wrong, because there's a whole lot of kids that are real good. It's kids that got way more money than me. Like I mean young. I mean we're in a new world. I had a little boy in this neighborhood. He had so much money, like it was unbelievable. But still, when you think of a little kid, like one minute he would be talking like a businessman, and then all of a sudden he would go back to being a little kid. It was just funny. All right. And she also has Lilith there. And it looks like her Lilith is direct. Her Lilith is not retrograde, so that's good. Now, I'm going to be honest about Lilith, because a lot of times when you look up Lilith on in line, they have a lot of negative information. Now, Lilith in Cancer can imply some type of family issues or stuff like that, but you know, I don't want to read that because that might not be the case, so I don't want to read that. But I do have to read Saturn. Now, Saturn is like more disciplinarian, and Saturn is the temperance card, which is Sagittarius energy. But Saturn is also the angel of time card, and that's the gateway to hell. So she would have to just be careful, because Saturn could mean somebody being too strict on her, but it could also mean her being strict. So we just have to be careful. And then Saturn is right next to Mars. So whenever I see Saturn or Mars in like Cancer or any house where it's predominantly children, I just warn against abuse. And Saturn at 14 degrees is not good, because that's like I said, that's called the angel of time, and that's the gateway to hell. And it's followed up with Mars. And see, 23 could always go to 5, and Mars at 5 is like violence. So you just have to be very careful with any form of abuse. And what I try to tell people, just if you won't want somebody doing that to you, don't do it to them, because sometimes it could just be the way you talk to somebody. Not saying that's the case, but I do that with everybody when I see that. But now I want to look up that number 23 again and remind what 23 is. So the number 23 is curious, quick thinking, only a little judgmental, and determined to express all of itself as many as possible. She also inspires others to create while dealing with them effectively. And that's why, like I said, Mars energy is not always bad, but you just have to be careful when you see it. The number 23 is optimistic. But she may have a trouble spending time alone to develop her projects and keep her feet on the ground for longer than a few minutes. So I guess 23 is a number that just be going. But some people say like the discordianness, the discordianness believe that 23 is the goddess of chaos. 23 also has a mystical nature. There are 23 Grand Masters who compose the Knight Templars. The book of Psalms has 23, that's the 23rd Psalm. And that does talk about the valley of the shadow of death, and that kind of alludes to hell. So that house looks like it's going to be a challenge for her at some point in her life. And now that, yeah, I was wrong. See, that's 28 degrees. See, 28 degrees is like straight out greed. It's an imbalance. That's why I was laughing, because I said the way they were talking was like a financial whiz, and I don't think so. Not too early. I mean, there are some, but that early you probably would be dealing with 28 degrees because you're going to be probably having a problem with your money, maybe overspending it and stuff like that. So 28 degrees is like not balanced. It's almost like an excess or greed. And that's the Mars. And then right away it's followed by the Moon. I gotta go to the master copy to see the degrees. Okay, 9 degrees. So again, that's Virgo energy, and this person goes by their own enlightenment, and I can kind of see that with her, because she's pretty much an old soul. In her past life, she had some type of relationship issue. So I think that's one of the reasons why she's so focused on the second house of finance in this life and family. But she's also got Virgo energy, but that's in the second house, at 9 degrees. And now this is her third house of communications. So she's a very creative person, and I can kind of see that too. She's a little bit different. Like, she's more like a survivor. Like, she's more like a modern day woman. I mean, I know she's young, but remember, I know she's had past lives. I can see it on her chart. But she's more like a modern day woman, her thinking. And the one in the middle is more like a classic, like a warrior. And then the one over here, she's got something going on with a connection in Egypt, but she wants to be in politics. See, she's going to make her place in some form of politics. So the two charts to the left, they're more like I don't want to use the word ancient, so I'm just going to use the word superheroes. Like, they're more like you got Bruce Wayne, but you also got Batman. Whereas the one here, she's more like the home. She's more like a woman that's going to worry about the home and money and finance and stuff like that. And so her third house, she's going to be very creative. She's also going to be a leader because Leo's there. Again, children things. She's going to be good with children, childlike ways. And her nurturing is at 13 degrees, and that's the Death or Scorpio energy. But the death, all that means is transformation. Her fourth house is the home. So like I said, she's going to be really good with the home and family and stuff like that. And then she's got Jupiter at 12 degrees. So that means as long as she's family and home, she will have money. And then she's kind of smart because she's not going to tell everybody everything. Because that 12 degrees, again, is Neptune, which is mystical. But it's also she's not going to tell everybody her business. So she's smart. Like, she's smart in a modern sense. She's not like the other two. They're more like classic. These are warriors and superheroes and stuff like that. And not saying she wasn't in her lifetime, but in this lifetime, she's more like, she's going to be real good with money. She's going to be a home-minded person. And when I say real good with money, even if she got money and wasted it, but at least she understands money. Because in this life, you better understand money, because you're going to have a hard time if you don't, with survival and stuff like that as you get older. All right. First, second, third, fourth, fifth house. Libra in the fifth house, but again, you don't see anything there. And they basically, remember, Libra and Taurus is ruled by Venus. And what they're trying to say is because she had a past life love issue, it's going to affect her in this life. But again, here's the deal. If you know that, then you know what to work on. This is why you get your natal chart, son, so you know that. See, it's easy to tap out or just give up or say, well, it's just too complicated. Oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's easy to make up excuses and tap out. But once you have this information, you have all the advantage in the world to do something about it. That's why you're given your natal chart. It's your blueprint. It's your Bible from the universe. It's your Bible from God, so that you can work on these things before they become a major problem in your life. But that's up to you. So now the sixth house, there you go, Scorpio, and there you have her vertex cross. So this is all about healing. Scorpio in the sixth house, which is about healing, but it's also about the home. And then Virgo is about the home, but it's in the family sector. So this is all about healing. Now her vertex is either going to be a significant event, a significant coming together, a significant breakup. It's going to either be fate or destiny. It's either going to be a soulmate or a twin soul, which is your twin flame. But it's at 16 degrees, which means they're going to be going through something. Once again, the Tower card, break you down, build you back up possibly. But you already can tell she's going to have love issues, because you already see that with Venus retrograde. And I think that's why she's so concerned with finances in the second house. Because I believe in a past life, she probably was left high and dry, and she had to survive. See, I think she has an instinct for survival. I believe that. Just by looking at her chart. Now in the seventh house, you have Sagittarius, which is a little bit more mature. But it's Pluto right there. Now Pluto again can be dealing with past life. It's retrograde. And Pluto retrograde is going to destroy something to help you learn. It's going to take something from you that you think you need to help you learn. And that, if you look at that red line, it's going from Cancer to Sagittarius to Gemini to Pisces. I call it the zigzag. So these are all things she's been through in her life. See, they go to love with Gemini, with Venus retrograde. Then it's the family, having a strong need for family. And then it's the seventh house, where it just seems like love just continues to be a problem for her. And then it goes back to Gemini again. Maybe that means I've learned from the experience. And then it ricochets over to Pisces. And we don't know what that means yet, but we'll be there soon. Since she's so good with Gemini and Leo in the third house, you should encourage her to be a writer, because I think she'll write some really good books. I really believe that, especially about relationship, stuff like that. But whatever she wants to write, I believe she'll be very good at it. Because Gemini and Sagittarius are both about publishing. And 20 degrees is judgment. But the judgment, 20 degrees is the judgment card, but it is Pluto energy. So it's some type of judgment going on, or some type of death and rebirth going on with her Sagittarius and 9th house energy. Now you go to her 8th house, and that's how you know she's an old soul. But if you notice, every single one of these have a Scorpio or a Pluto connection to Capricorn, because they're all old souls. They've all lived before. And this is why that's a spiritual family, and they have all these spiritual names and all this stuff going on. These are old souls. And then there's her Juno, but oh, so sad. Juno retrograde means infidelity in this life or a past life. So she's definitely going to be having relationship issues, and that's why she's a survivor. She can't help but look out for herself, because she's trusted before in a past life and she's been hurt. So now this is what she wants. She wants her own children because she wants to feel love. And she's not going to do well in that other area, or she's not going to trust a man because she's been hurt. So now you see it again in her 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th house. And Chiron retrograde means it hasn't healed yet. It's the wounded healer. But it's helped her become more mature, because she's going to be very mature for her age. And so far, it don't look like she's going to have no problem with fantasy, or she's going to know the deal. Now her 9th house, you have Neptune retrograde, which can mean the escapist, but you have Aquarius, which is the people. That's the 11th house of friends association groups. And then her Neptune retrograde is 15 degrees, which is the devil card. And that's Capricornian energy. So how I'm viewing this, her 9th house, I'm viewing it as she's going to be somewhat of a leader. Like with her friends and stuff like that, she's going to kind of like be the leader of them. Yeah, because I say that about her sister. Look at the left. Look at the left chart. Same thing. Neptune retrograde and Aquarius, and that's what I said about her. So the one on the right and the one on the left, like in later in life, they may really work together, because she's really good with the money and she's smart. She's a survivor. And this one, she's going to be strong too, but they could work really well. Because when you're dealing with politics, you're dealing with power and finance. Those are the main things you're going to need with politics. And you can talk about everything else, but if you don't have the finances and if you don't have the power, you ain't going nowhere. You could have a nice platform and all that stuff. But like I said, if you do get voted in because you got a nice platform and people believe in you, once you get in, you better get that money and that power if you plan on staying in. All right. And I'm right. I didn't even think about it, because let me show it to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10th house, Capricorn and Pisces. Now look at the chart on the left, just like I said. 10th house, Capricorn. And when you go to her 12th house, Pisces. So in later life, these two will probably be working together. They may all work together, but I'm just saying these two will really, the power and the finance. Because that's her 10th house, which again is going to connect to her life purpose with medium coeli at 1 degree. And like I said, 1 degree means the magician, means that when they talk, people believe them. But her 10th house is spiritual. And it has Uranus there, which means anything could happen. And it has number 6. So let's look at the number 6 again. Number 6 can be love. It could be the homemaker. It's also the lover card, but they have doubt. The lover's card. So they say that the tarot card number 6 has to do with choice, which I'm just hearing that. I should just think the lover's card was the lover's card. It deals with the lovers, but then I was taught that the lover's card deals with doubt, usually. But it still depends on how it appears. But now they're telling me that the lover's card deals with choice, because it's dealing with the heart. Are you going to follow the head or the heart? And I guess that's where they get the word doubt from. So the number 6 is the homemaker, love, family, home life. And the 6th sign of the zodiac is Virgo. And it's also associated with Venus, the goddess of love. And it's also associated with Gemini and that's her ascendant is Gemini. But see, Gemini means she's a good speaker. Generally. So they could be homebodies. So in her 10th house, yeah, and her Uranus is retrograde. And then we have 23, which is spiritual. But it's definitely spiritual. Her 10th house is, or her purpose in life for her career is definitely spiritual. And then when you go to her true north node, you see Taurus. But Taurus rules the 2nd house where Cancer is. And it's also karmic with 17. And that's the Aquarius. The number 17 is the let me make sure. I believe it's the star, which is Aquarius number. Yep, it's the star or Aquarius number. And again, and what house is that? And that's her 12th house. But the 12th house is going to be about people. But it just seems to me she's more like the she's like everybody has a backbone. Like she's like the backbone. Like she's more interested in the unit. She's more interested in the family. Which is nothing wrong with that. Like it's nothing wrong with none of these charts. But you can tell she's more like the backbone. Because she's got the Gemini mental power to do it. She's smart. Like you had John F. Kennedy, but Bobby was like the backbone. Bobby did everything. Bobby was the man that made sure everything ran smoothly. He made sure that's what she would do. And this is why when Bobby Kennedy got ready to run for presidency, they killed him immediately. Because they knew if he got in that office, they knew he was going to use that power to avenge his brother's death. So if you notice, they didn't touch Bobby until he ran for president. Now, a lot of people wanted Bobby Kennedy dead because he put a lot of gangsters in jail. And which y'all may not know history, but what Bobby Kennedy and John Kennedy did to gangsters, like the stuff Donald Trump be talking about, if you were a gangster and they knew you were a gangster, you didn't get no trial because they knew if you went to trial you probably would beat it because they knew corruption was all in the United States. So if you were a gangster, they grabbed your ass, they put you on a plane, and they dropped you off that plane in Italy. So you would fall out of a plane. This is a true story. Check it out if you think I'm lying. You will fall out of a plane in Italy and wake up and don't know where the heck you at. And then you would just have to get up and start walking around. And if you know how Italy is filled up with vines and fields, because that's where they make all that wine and all that stuff. So you would be in a field in Italy and you don't know where the heck you at. And you're one of the most powerfulest gangsters in the United States. And you would have to pick yourself up in that field and walk around till you found a person. And you would probably have to speak in your native tongue, and that person would have to help you get to your people. And that's one of the main reasons why they wanted John F. Kennedy dead. For a lot of reasons, but especially what he was doing to gangsters. And so they let his brother Bobby live. But the moment Bobby said, I'm going to run for presidency, they killed him because they knew what he was going to do. So I think we will get ready to look at the number 23. And we are almost done. But that's why I said, but she will be good with people. That's why you're seeing an Aquarius energy. '23, curious, quick thinking, could be a little judgmental, and they're determined to communicate, which is good. And then we said it could be the goddess of chaos, the Grand Master, the Knight Templar. I think they said it's 23 of them. Yep. All right. Oh, and she has a 50. She has a 50 with her 1 with medium Coeli. And that's the Magician. The 1 degree is the Magician card. That when they speak, they're followed. But believe it or not, I'm more interested. Yeah, and she's got a lot of 40s too. See how her numbers are totally different because you don't see no 40s on nobody else's. See, all 3 of these have unbelievably powerful natal charts. But the one in the middle is the one that really interests me because I like that kind of stuff. It's like the Uranus. You see the Uranus retrograde? See, I'm a Uranus and they're capable of doing anything. Where hers is retrograde. So we have to look at that. But she's spiritual at 23. See, 26 is the God communicating. 23 is the human communicating. So usually Uranus retrograde means that in the past life, she may have been... See, she may have already done what her sister in the middle is going to be doing. Because Uranus retrograde is usually like somebody that went against... It was like a militant and they fought for rights and all that stuff. So that's one of the reasons why she's already done it, but it's still in her, so she can still do it now. And her 10th house is working with her 12th house, where her true north node is. So that's what she needs to be doing in this life. But now when you go across to where Scorpio is, that's her past life, but that's also where her vertex, because that person she's meeting in her vertex was probably with her in the past life. And that's the 6th house. So in a past life, she was worrying about other people's money and other people. But in this life, she's more into... See, Taurus rules the 2nd house, and that's about your money. But see, she equates the money with family. So her 2nd house and her 12th house are working together. It's like my chart. My chart is similar. But my true north node is in Cancer, not in Taurus. But my ascendant is Gemini too, and that's probably why I relate to her a lot, because of that she's got that Uranus. Uranus, they're just real smart people, and they come out of nowhere. Like, it's hard to take out a Gemini ascendant with a strong Uranus, because you don't know where they're coming from. And plus, when you're spiritual, you just be putting your trust in God. So now you got God fighting for you too. So who's gonna beat you? So I was going to look at those 50s in that, but I think it's kind of self-explanatory. Like on the chart on the middle, it was hard to understand what was going on, but on this chart, it's kind of self-explanatory. Her purpose is primarily to continue to advance the family, to support the sisters. Like, sometimes you see people move on as they get older; they kind of move away, and you see them like on holidays, or maybe every now and then y'all get together. But then sometimes you see family that they kind of stay together. They kind of, even though they get older and stuff, but you always see them kind of close to each other. But I kind of get that. I get that from her. But I especially see it with chart number 3 and chart number 1. But that doesn't mean chart number 2 won't be involved with that. So that is it. So if anybody wants, remember, I don't just do natal charts. I do everything. I do the Archangel cards. Anything that's considered paranormal, I do. Any research, I do. Anything that's predictive, I do. I also do numerology of your name, numerology of your birthday, numerology of your address. Anything that's like that, I do. So you can always contact me. The information is in the description box. And that concludes this reading.